Camila Rodriguez. I'm a supervisee in social work.
What inspired you to get into the mental health field?
I feel like one of the biggest things for me was looking at how many people, especially in the Hispanic culture, being from a Hispanic family, there's always a stigma around mental health, and I always wanted to be a big part in the movement and removing that stigma and having people find the resources that they need, because at the end of the day, no one should have limited access to mental health when they're struggling.
How does it feel for you to be helping your families and culture and everything?
I feel like I'm being a big role in this movement because it's still something that's ongoing, something that's been ongoing for years, and I really feel like it's an honor for me, and it's something that I still want to continue to move forward in, and still continue to find ways to improve access and improve the stigma, or remove the stigma really at the end of the day, because why shouldn't you have services and the necessary help if you're struggling day to day?
What are some of the methods you use?
I typically use cognitive behavioral therapy, so that means just really looking at the thinking around behaviors, realizing that some behaviors are sometimes what instill certain thinking. So sometimes if we remove the thinking around behaviors, we see improvement in it, and we see sometimes even just a complete reversal of it. And that's one of the biggest things in my methods. I use an overall holistic approach and use a person-centered approach. So I try to always keep like person-first language and always try to focus on the person as a whole rather than only aspects of them.
And as you progress with your clients, do you see their confidence level rise as they go through the process?
Oh, for sure. I see one of the biggest things is when they do come in for initial intake, there's a lot of just like negative language, feeling down, a lot of like low self-esteem, a lot of shame and guilt. And one of the biggest focuses that I've had is improving that self-confidence. And over the weeks, it's fun to hear people say like, "Oh, I used to say this, but now I can say like I'm improving in some things. I'm having better behaviors. I'm seeing a lot of self-improvement in my daily routine." And that's something that I feel like is most gratifying.
And LA Mental Health, they in Woodbridge, they are expanded and growing. What is it like working with people on a similar mission?
It's honestly very empowering because sometimes it's hard to be the only person in a movement that tries to create the movement. And when you have like just this big team and this big support group behind you, it's so empowering because you have people that not only share the same values, but are fighting with you to have those values, to have those values met and those goals met. It's honestly one of the most empowering feelings I think I've ever had.
What do you do to help your own mental health?
I try to instill a lot of self care throughout the day. Sometimes people have this thought that self care has to be like an hour and a half routine every day. Rather, instead of only sitting like an hour and a half, 2 hours, I try to instill that like in increments throughout the day. So I try to take like 15 minutes throughout the day, every now and then, and also like on my drive to work, I like to listen to my favorite music, and then on my way home, I sometimes don't listen to music, but I sit in just quietness and enjoy the ride home because I need to be able to decompress. When I get home, I also like decompress, getting comfy clothes, and just get ready for the next day in a more peaceful way instead of like rushed.
What would you say to anyone going through a tough time?
Trust the process. Sometimes it feels like when you're going through therapy or just other methods, sometimes it feels like things get worse before they get better, but that's the whole process. So always have trust in yourself and the process.